right, guys. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to another exciting AMS session live with Daniel Keller. Today's AMA is a little bit different than the previous rounds of AMA we had. Not only will be answering the questions posted on the Discord AMA section, but we are also taking live questions here as well. So, gather your thoughts and continue posting all your questions here on the chat window, and we're going to answer live right here. Also, for the very, very first time, we are broadcasting live on Twitter and Facebook as well. So check us out there, provide us your feedback, and let us know how we are doing there. And if you are new to our channel and this is your first time, please subscribe to our channel and hit that bell notification item so that you are up to date with our latest content. So without any further delay, let's start this with our EMA. I will now hand it over to Daniel Keller. Daniel, can you hear me?
Ollie, I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Yep. There you go.
Man, I got to tell you, you kicked your game up a shit ton. I mean, like literally, look at this. We're on all platforms. We have these awesome intro videos. You've got slides. You've got this cross-platform stuff. You have done a hell of a job getting us out of the Stone Ages where we were running on Zoom. So congratulations, man. It really looks good, and I'm excited to be here today. Everyone else, morning, my afternoon, evening, my cypherpunks. Let's get right into it. We got a lot of stuff to cover today. So we want to make sure that you like and share on all platforms. Get it out there as far as and as wide as we can, so we can get as many ears and eyes on this as possible. So, without further ado, we'll get right into it. So, Ollie. So I'm going to start out by doing kind of a quick recap of some of the things that happened over the past few weeks. So we had our 20 and 20. And our 20 and 20 was an absolute success. It brought so much attention to the platform. We launched a bunch of really awesome dApps. And what we did as a team as well is started to learn a lot about what we can and can't do on the platform. And we're going to talk a little bit later about one of the partnerships that we had and have created, specifically around adding new websites, dApps, you name it. If you can Dockerize it, you can put it on Flux. So we're super excited about that. The 20 and 20 was super successful, and it capped off the 20 on 20 with the announcement of Fusion release, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. One of the big things that has really been a game changer for the project is the launch of XDAI. So this is our autonomous organization. So essentially what that means is node operators can participate in voting on propositions brought forth by the community. Way back, let's jump in the way back time machine. We go back almost 3 years. We talked about how we wanted the community to be the ones leading the charge in a lot of these different platforms. And today we have it. And as a matter of fact, I'm pleased to announce the very first award. Award went out to the XDAI of 1 million Flux to a community marketing group, which if you haven't been on social media and you haven't seen what they're doing, you need to, because these guys are very proactive. They're very engaging. They're building a real community around Flux, and it's exactly what we wanted. We wanted that to grow organically, and it is. So, and we also have our internal marketing, our official Flux marketing that's doing well as well, and we'll talk about that later on too. So we launched our official our Zel Wiki, or our Flux Zel. I see even still I say it every now and again. Our Flux Wiki. So our Flux Wiki is out. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. What we're actually going to be running a bounty on this here probably within the next few weeks for content development on the wiki. Why is the wiki important? Well, for new users, we are getting a massive influx of new users. Those new users need a place to go to find information quickly, and we're all kind of familiar with Wiki, and this is a great place to start it out. The other cool thing is we're prepping it to move to Flux, so it'll actually once we're finished the build on it, it's going to run on Flux as well. So that's awesome. It's another use case for the platform. The big deal, one of the other big deals, is the upcoming release of the all new Flux OS. So if you haven't seen this trailer video at the beginning, I suggest you just go to YouTube and check it out, because it is absolutely fantastic. Vader, the developer who worked on this, he really hit it out of the park. We're really excited for this to launch. It's done. It's the pull request was made. It's in review right now, so I think you'll probably see this next week go live. And it, in my mind's eye, when I was kind of mind mapping how I wanted this to look like, I wanted to look and the feel super easy for people that are using Flux to be able to, put their files on their Flux share, and check the statistics on their nodes and so on and so forth. It is seamless, and it fits right nicely in with the new website as well. So they'll eventually be a companion together. So we want to make sure that whole flow from beginning to end is spot on. So I'm excited for that. You'll see that within the next week. Which one were we going to talk about? Oh, the website. Well, with the Flux community, we put our money, our time, our efforts where our mouth is. So we want people to bring and stand. We have 30 plus, 40 plus websites that are running on Flux. Well, one that wasn't running on Flux was our own website. Why? Because we just built it, and we were using some contractors and things like that. And we said, hey, you know what? We got to get it on. So we officially launched the Flux website running on the Flux network. So super excited. Big shout out to Lil Stash and K1 for what they did there and what they're going to continue to keep doing there. But what it does is it highlights the fact that even the most complex, and our website is pretty damn complex, websites can actually run on Flux, and they'll look great. And actually, we did speed tests on it, and it was much faster than where it was before. So we're pretty excited about that. We had an ad we had a couple ads this week. So we had Infinity. I don't know much about the project. I know that it's like a nifty scenario thing and whatever. But we're excited for them to, be able to be stored. And we also added Safe Moon. This is from the Safe Moon community. They have, I would say, one of the most rabid communities that I've ever seen in my life. They almost assaulted us for the ad, so that was okay. So we're glad to see them, have a good place. They didn't have a real solid mobile platform, so we're happy to see that being added too. So we actually dropped the closed beta of Dropaloo. Like, if you haven't heard about Dropaloo is it's a social media platform. You can go learn about it on our Medium. There's a nice write-up. We're releasing it to UK based individuals for testing to start the process. And as we continue to, they continue to keep developing the project out. We'll continue to keep kind of adding as we go. So we're really excited for these guys to continue to keep their growth process going. And officially, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, the new chain web data was released from Kadena. So we're really excited to institute the next iteration of, we call it phase 2 of the Kadena partnership. So we're going to be running their node and their chain web data in the same instance. And if you want to continue to kind of mine those rewards for KDA along with your Flux on your nodes, you need to make those adjustments. So we'll make sure that we announce those things when it's ready, but there will be an expectation. We're moving from running just their node to their chain web data as well. And I believe that is I believe that's going to start probably the next cycle. But I'll know for sure. We'll get an announcement out there for everybody, but we're super excited to get to phase 2 and see these guys continue to keep growing. So if you haven't checked out Kadena, there was a really good AMA style I call them fireside chats. They called it a fireside chat too. A fireside chat with Stuart and one of the lead developers who actually is cited in the Bitcoin white paper. So take a couple minutes to check it out. They're real interesting. The project's interesting. We like working with them. Our boys at Firo, oh, Ruben and all those guys, man, we are this close to launching the Firo nodes as well. They will. The goal is to have them kind of like the KDA style, so that if you run the node, you're rewarded. So we have a couple little things we're working through. It's fully launched on Flux now. We're just trying to get the correct back end for payouts. So, it basically, if you wanted to run a Firo node today, you could go stand it up on Flux. It's there. Go in, select it, install, boom, you're done. You're running a Firo node. Okay, so but in the future, you're going to also have to meet those requirements, the up requirements like KDA. And once that's done, then you'll get paid in Firo as well. So super excited to see that happen. We had our very first Flux poker night was successful. So we used Flux, we used IRC, we played around with all the things that are on Flux, and I lost my flipping money. Thanks, Rome. You're ridiculous. And you're banned from the next 3 poker nights so that I can win some damn money. But we had a blast. We all had a couple beers and played some poker every Saturday night at, I don't know what time it is. Rome is going to pick this time, but I think it was 7 last time Eastern. Everybody gets together. You can have multiple tables, so the more the merrier. And we do a little bit of Flux buy-in and we have some fun. So it's a good time. So congratulations to all those guys for Rome putting it together, and we had fun doing it. So Trunk was a chip leader, I think, all the way to the end, which I didn't even know Trunk could play poker. So much to my amazement and chagrin, he took me out. Oh, single-handedly, one of the biggest announcements in the past several weeks was the launch of the new Zelcore. If you haven't seen it, the V5, it is off the charts. It is gorgeous. It is a whole game changer. It sets everything up for Eve. It really looks fantastic. I mean, I played with it for hours the other night. It was just so nice. It has a lot of creature comforts, things that I really like. Like you can read the news feeds without having to open up the Zelcore platform. You can go in and you can check what's going on. It's just the ease of use, the goal to reduce the barrier of entry for people so that they understand how to use a crypto wallet effectively. I think we made a huge step forward with it. So let us know what you think. We're looking for input. If you see something that would be like, hey, I like this, this would look a little nicer here, yada, yada, let us know. Parker is in the Discord. You can DM him or you can throw it in our suggestions area. But we're always looking for input on it. So excited for that. And one of the partnerships that we launched is we launched a partner with JS13K, and our 20 on 20. One of the games that we spawned on Flux was actually a JS13K game, and we started talking with them. And they have an event and where they actually have, it's like almost like a building competition where they build these different applications. And in our case, we joined as their new decentralized area, and in tandem with IPFS, Filecoin, and Near. And I'm actually judging the competition to see who gets to win this, but they're going to win some Flux, they're going to win some Filecoin, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you head over to their website, it's js13kgames.com, I believe. Check it out. We have an announcement on our Twitter as well, so if you want to check it out and go there. But highly recommend checking it out. These guys it's way cool seeing this stuff happening. And it just so happens that the theme of this year's build is space. So I'm going to really be looking forward to what's coming out there. And then one of the areas where, old man Dan has had a hell of a time understanding the Nifty craze, right? Like, I'm an OG in the space. I've been around for a long time. And I know Nifties are valuable, but I couldn't figure out, really put my arms around why these non-fungible tokens were so important. I understood that they will be important, but what does that look like? And so we set out on a search to find somebody that was working on not the current iteration of what Nifties are, but the future iteration or close to the final iteration. So one of the things that we always look at Flux and Zelcore is, how do things look in the long term? How are they regulatory compliant? How do they meet the criteria? And in the case of Nifty's, what about copyright infringement? What about all these different pieces? Enter Hub.life. These guys got it together. They know what they're talking about. They're looking at socially just. They're looking at global. A global platform for Nifty's, the ability to geofence, copyright, those kind of things, all running on a decentralized network. So a lot of people would say, well, is it really decentralized if you control it, the minting process, and you could an artist it's a preferential treatment, right? It's a preference of the artist. If I produce something, I want to make sure that it's controlled. I want to make sure it's in the right place at the right time. And that's the awesome thing that these guys are doing. I'm sure I'm butchering it up, but go check out what they're doing. I think it's going to be an awesome partnership. We're looking forward to spawning these on Flux in the very near future. DeFi is popping, and in the good way and the bad way, as we saw this week, but in the all good way for us. So we were added to Pancake Swap, we were added to Sushi Swap, we were added to 1inch, and all the other food flavored swaps there are out there. And the pools the community has really taken on a real drive to get us to the next level on this DeFi. So we're super excited about it. We're seeing the liquidity pools grow. We're seeing, people starting really to get into it. And with Fusion releasing, it's going to change the game. We're really excited about it. So, keep building, keep get involved, check it out. Head to our Discord, check out our DeFi section, and keep on building. And I just mentioned Fusion. So we have a release date on that, because the number one question if we go through the AMA is going to be, when is Fusion release? Well, Fusion releases on 8/25. That is massive for this project, because now you can move from any asset to the main chain seamlessly right inside of Zelcore. So if I have Flux KDA and I want to stand up a new node, I can take it through Fusion back to the main chain and be able to stand my node up. If I want to if I'm on the main chain and I want to participate in 1inch exchange, or if I want to go over to Cadix for KDA, I simply go to Fusion. I say how much I want to move over. Boom, it's done. This creates a world of opportunities. The seamless movement from one in the interchain operability from one chain to another chain, and not some bullshit wrapped platform. These are the native token on that platform. Flux is spreading its wings in terms of all these different platforms that it can work on, and it can participate in all the different things on these platforms. So it's pretty cool how it all works out. You see a lot of these projects doing this wrapped stuff. I think there is value for some of these wrapped pieces, but as we saw this week, DeFi is still very early on. And, we want to be careful with the complexities that we're doing. But going straight to native chain, that makes the most sense. You don't have a third party involved. You don't have somebody wrapping these massive contracts to get from one spot to the other spot. You're just going from A to B, and that's the way it is. I like it. Simple. I can do it. You can do it. And we're going to announce today at the end of, because I got to keep everybody here, you know what I mean? So I don't want you guys all running off. We've got a bunch of people watching on all these different platforms. I want to make sure that everybody stays and hangs out for the duration. But we're going to announce today the Solana and Tron additions to the snapshot. So we'll get to that closer to the end.
All right, that's what we have so far, Danny.
Okay, cool. All right. So without further ado, that's kind of the recap. Really looking forward to the next couple weeks as well, because there's a lot happening. So let's dive right into the AMA.
All right, let's start. So I'm going to start with the questions here on the YouTube, and then we can move over to the AMA section of our Discord. So let's start with the first question here. So is there much involved in moving a Dockerized application from DigitalOcean to Flux?
Well, if you would have asked me this 2 weeks ago, I would have gave you or 3 weeks ago, I would have gave you a different answer. No, there's not. And it's super damn simple. And even I could figure it out. If I can figure it out, anybody can figure it out. If you can Dockerize your application, or if it's already been Dockerized, it can launch and spawn on Flux today. It's super, super, super easy. And actually, Little Stash, who is our lead, he's kind of our lead recruiter for those different projects. Reach out to them, talk to them about it. Go to the website, you can launch your app right out of Flux today. You go to the homepage and you go to dApps, and then you can spawn globally or spawn locally. And it's a very simple process. You fill out a form, you hit sign the transaction's signed, and then once it's approved, you're set. So yeah, it's going to get a lot easier, because our ultimate goal is to make it like a real seamless process, kind of like the AWS DigitalOcean style signups. Make it real easy for people that are techie, and they want to stand up maybe a VPS or something like that. So yeah, it's super easy.
All right, so let's put the second one right here. So what would be the monthly cost to run the app on Flux, or how does this work?
Right now, it's almost nothing. And our goal is to bring as many people to the platform as we can. So it's a little bit of Flux to spawn it. I mean, when we talk compared to a standard VPS and what you're doing, we're astronomically cheaper, like in the sense on some things. I know that people were standing up Minecraft servers super cheap, and they were excited about that. So yeah, I mean it's cheap. You have to figure it out. If you go in and it'll tell you how much Flux you have to pay. But I mean, it's a couple bucks. It was super cheap, super cheap.
Okay. So next question is, when will we be able to switch Flux KDA ETH into Flux?
25th, baby, Fusion. So I need a Fusion shirt now, so because that's gonna be awesome. So the 25th, you'll be able to move from the parallel assets back again, and because we got a lot of people that have these parallel assets, they want to get it back to the main chain to be able to stand up nodes. So I would love to see over the course of the next few weeks our nodes double, like literally double. I'd like to see us go. We know that once Fusion comes out, I mean, like me, I'm sitting on my parallel assets. I'm waiting. As soon as there's the ability to move it back over to main chain, I'm going to stand up more nodes. So, and I think predominantly the individuals who are in the space, and the goal of the parallel assets was to reward those individuals who stood up the infrastructure so that we continue to scale. I call that soft scaling. So essentially we scale the network with the parallel assets, and people will continue. Good actors who are in the project for the right reasons tend to continue to propagate themselves out. So soft scaling versus something like hard scaling, where we would do like a fork of the node network. So, eventually we'll get to the point where we'll do a fork of the node network and we'll start to multiply out, and, but for now, soft scaling is really cool because people just do it naturally.
All right, next question is, when will CoinMetrics be integrated into Zelcore?
That's a good question, and we're working on. We had to do some back end coding specifically for them that we don't have to do for other exchanges, and they're more than willing to help us, and we're continuing to develop out our partnerships in many different ways. But I think you could see it within the next few months. I think you'll see one other platform before them, and they were kind of in the pipeline, and that was announced the other day. We're going to be adding FTX to Zelcore. So I teased about it a little bit, but FTX will be added to Zelcore, and then I think right after FTX, CoinMetro is next in line. So I'm thinking within the next few months.
All right, so next question is, mining on ETH versus mining Flux. My NVIDIA cards are pumping 120 watts with Flux and 80 watt on ETH. Why?
Well, first of all, the picture is badass. I love those dogs. But that's a good question, and one that I don't have the answer for. I would say the best thing to do is head over to our Discord, into our mining section, and ask those guys. They're rabid. they're going to know for sure exactly what that is. And I'm not 100% positive what that is. It could be the mining program you're using. I know there's some complexities around that. But yeah, I would head over there. You're going to get a more educated answer from them than you are from me.
Next question is, will there be new games that will run on Flux?
Hell yes. Hell yes. Hashtag Flux Gaming. Hell yes. That actually is one of the bigger things. The blockchain gaming sector is one of the bigger things I'm excited about, because we've seen the opportunity to bring these people on. And not only games, but game servers we're looking at. So we're getting ready to look at the next fork of Flux, and it's going to bring in a world of different applications. And I will tell you, Little Stash is a gamer at heart, and he helps set that kind of agenda of where, he asked me, what do we want to do? And I'm like, well, we could do this. What about these games? All right, we could do those too. So you'll see games, you'll see game servers, you're going to see game competitions, you're going to see, because this is what Flux was built for. And we love our gamers. We love to see them, the creativeness that they're coming up with that JS competition and things like that. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, next question is, can you tease Eve a bit? I have no idea what's that about, other than it's going to be awesome.
I don't know. Do you need to know anything else other than that? Eve changes the game. Again, like, I love to use that term because it does change the game. These things change the game. There's nothing like it in crypto. There's nothing like it honestly, there's nothing like it in standard finance. If I have a TD Ameritrade account and I want to go on there and say, hey, TD Ameritrade, tell me what, X, Y, and Z is doing. And you're not going to get that. Eve is the Siri for blockchain. You're going to be able to use Eve to execute and get information about things, and also reduce, again, the barrier of entry for a new user. Hypothetically saying, I had ETH, and the ETH is sitting in my Zelcore wallet, and I log on to Zelcore, and Eve says, Dan, do you want to learn about ETH staking? Well, shit, yeah, I want to learn about that. I have some ETH. Tell me about it. And then it tells you exactly the rundown of what ETH staking is. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. Dan, do you want to stake your ETH? Yeah, I want to do that. Okay, so how do we do that? And then we're going to have the back end set so that they don't have to do anything. It just does it. And the first iteration is out. And we started to use our quick swap exchanges as kind of our beta test. So we're pulling from all these different quick swap exchanges that we're going to eventually add in the centralized exchanges. So if Dan comes to Eve and he says, Dan, or I say, Eve, I want to buy some Bitcoin. In the background, Eve is doing all the work to look at all the different platforms and say the cheapest one. Well, I found it for, okay, yeah, go ahead and buy it. Done, in your wallet. That's the game changer that Eve brings to the platform. So it really looks different than anything I've ever seen before. I don't even know. I mean, if you've used Apple products, it's Siri. If you used Amazon, it's the Amazon lady. Whatever. I mean, it's kind of like that. It makes it easier for people to access things quickly. You can set favorites. So if I set favorites of different projects that I want to learn about, right now I have to set a news feed, and even the new Zelcore has a news feed at the beginning, right? And I got to read and flip down through that. What if I go and I launch Zelcore and say, Eve, tell me all my news? And it literally gives you a recap of what all your projects are doing. So it's taking that aggregated information from all those different platforms, and it's pushing it into, because most people will, when they listen to things like this, visually and audio, they're gonna retain more information. So Eve really kind of bridges that gap where people don't have to read 40 pages of shit to find out exactly what they want to know. They're going to be able to specify that. So yeah, we're super excited about it. It's really going to be different. I didn't even understand the full impact of what it could do till we have a company that we're working with on the AI side of things. And all of a sudden it started to click for me. I was like, wait a minute, like I can open this up and say, buy me some, Flux, and it's going to scan all of the centralized exchanges and all of the decentralized exchanges and all the quick swaps, and it's going to bring me back the best price, and I can execute it, and I never have to get on a computer. I never have to do shit. That's amazing. So yeah, we're really excited for you. And I probably butchered it up a little bit, but you get the general idea.
So same, I think, follow-up question on this one is, will the Flux token be involved in the economics of the ETH somehow?
Well, Flux and Zelcore is a symbiotic project, right? So whatever you're doing in Zelcore, you're doing on Flux essentially. So I mean, the infrastructure runs on Flux. The asset that powers Zelcore is Flux. So I think the answer to that question would be yes. I think you'll see something like that. We don't know what it looks like yet because we don't know exactly how that economic model is going to work out yet. But I do believe it's another use case for the platform. Like, we're not going out, and I'm not going to name any names, other platforms that create a token for the sake of having a token, right? And they do these manipulative things with the token in terms of burns and all that horse shit. This is going to utilize the actual utility asset that this whole project is built on, and that's going to be Flux. So the answer to your question is yes. How? I have no flipping clue yet, but we'll let you know as soon as we know.
All right. So next one is says, I have 32 ETH and would love to run a validator node. Would that be possible, and could I get help if so?
So these ETH validator nodes are super, super intense, right? So I think that there will be the ability. I think we need to look at the requirements for our infrastructure. And I think at some point we're probably going to bump those requirements up to meet that. I would like to see those ETH validators running right on Flux. You could stand it up and you can run your own validator. I think it would be awesome to see that happen. I think it could happen. I think it will happen. We see it with KDA and what they're doing with their bonding nodes. We're going to eventually run their bonding nodes on Flux as well. So if you want to run a bonding node, you can do that as well. The ultimate goal is to get as much flexibility in these platforms, but we got to make sure our system specs are right as well. So we don't want to have somebody running, a massive just one application on the node. We're going to have to stack that up a little bit. So yes, I think in the end we'll be able to do that.
Next one is, do we have a time frame on when the parallel mining rewards will start being distributed on Flux Labs community pool?
So the community labs pool is a little different. We have a pool that has already started the process of capturing the snapshots. I can't remember who it is, which pool it was, but we have. The community pool has the miner rewards and loyalty program, and it will also have the parallel asset distribution. Everybody's going to get them. But we're in the process of trying to build the user interface to make it super seamless. And we're also looking at some possibilities for miners to be actually able to go out and claim their assets without utilizing the pool as well. So I would say this is an experimental zone, guys. We're doing shit that's never been done before. And when you're doing stuff that's never been done before, you may start down a path and you're like, you know what? We thought this is the way we want to go, but we want to go a different way. So I would just say, have patience. Your assets are there. You're going to get your rewards. It's just how we deliver them. And we want to make sure the delivery model's appropriate.
All right, so next one is, let's see. What extra functionalities will the fork bring for the Flux coin?
Oh, X4. You set me up, brother. I love it. A shit ton. Like, I'm so excited. If you had to ask me, Dan, what are you most excited about in this whole project, in this whole ecosystem? Everything. What makes your fingers tingle? What gives you a mind rush? It is the fork that's going to be coming, because it releases an entirely different complexity to what we can do. I mean, I'm literally like, these guys are we have a Trello page that's this long of applications that are going to launch. We're going to launch it, and I can say this. I'm not really giving anything away. The guys might argue a little bit with that, but I'll say this: we're going to launch like a Zoom-based application so that we can. These are all decentralized, ran on Flux, right? We're going to launch a help desk, a service desk that's going to run the Flux side of Q&A and all that kind of stuff that comes in the question and answering scenario. We're going to launch gaming servers. We're going to launch, you name it. I mean, the list is a mile long. I call that the acceleration zone, because right now we're in the building zone, right? So we're building, and that fork brings the acceleration zone, and we're gone. So, I mean, we literally are packaging things now to release post fork, and those things are fucking huge. And I'm seriously excited to see it all go down. So, you know, I would say functionality wise, it opens us up to a different world. You'll add Compose, you'll add Swarm, you'll add a lot of different things that are really helps us bring on different platforms. So yeah, I think it's going to be amazing.
And I think Little Stash just brought up a good point. Just to be clear, this is Flux OS fork, not a Flux coin.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's a Flux OS fork, not a coin fork. Sorry. I always fork. Okay, let's go.
All right. So next one is will parallel mining rewards on the community pool be paid out to all previous miners, even though they stopped mining?
The parallel assets will be paid out. The loyalty rewards will not. You won't qualify for loyalty rewards, but you would qualify for your parallel assets. Yes.
Okay. All right, next one is any news progress having pre-search nodes as local apps. The pre-search devs have no news from the Flux team.
Yes, so we're looking at it. It's we wanted to get. I mean, the big thing was to drop, get Zelcore out, and then get Fusion out the door. And once those two things are out the door and Zelcore's done, Fusion's 25th, then I think we're going to turn our focus on the pre-search, the Firo. A lot of the other pieces that that are kind of sitting there. We're just trying to strategize these things so we can get the most momentum moving forward. So yes, it's on our list of things to do, and you know, we're adding. I mean, if you guys know any devs, let us know. I mean, we're adding devs every day. I mean, we're really busting at the seams, and it's a good thing. So that's for sure.
All right. So next question is could Flux nodes consider and work towards integration or collaboration with Fetch AI?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know enough about Fetch that I could speak real thorough. I looked into it a couple times. I think so. Again, if you can Dockerize it, you can put it on Flux. I think if there's community members on there now, if they want to give me some information on it, and we'll take a look at it. I mean, it's like everything else. Things move fast in the Flux world. We have projects come to us and say, "Can we?" And we're like, "Yeah, we can." And the next thing, we're working with them on the backside. So I would say let's look into it. Yeah.
All right. So next question is there some way node operators can be notified of pending XDAI votes?
So I would say just check your landing page, your home, run on flux.io, and make sure that there's no pending votes coming up. I think in the future, what we could do is do some kind of update or notification like we do in Zelcore for, particular items. And we'll do some notification in the community as well. So, I've said it before and I said it again. Being a Flux node operator is not running a set it and forget it. It is being engaged in the process continually and even daily. These decentralized systems administrators that run these things, and that's really what they are, they have to be highly involved on many different levels. So I would say, yes, I think there could be a way to update people, especially node owners. Maybe we could Volter could look at putting a notification in Zelcore somewhere, because we have the node monitoring piece, maybe a little window that says pending XDAI votes or something like that. So Volter, if you're listening, we could look at that. But yeah, I think so.
All right. So next one is, can we already claim the parallel snapshots we own by having Flux staked in CoinMetro?
So we're working with CoinMetro now to streamline that process, because essentially they have, for all intents and purposes, they have a shitload of nodes, right? So a lot of people, it's been an absolute success with the staking over at CoinMetro. I think it's 5 million plus Flux are now staked at CoinMetro, which, man, I could never in a million years see that happening. So it's really awesome. And the nice thing about it is their back end that they're running for the node structure is Zelcore. So we know that it's comfortable and safe, at least from the technical side, because we're comfortable with the technicals. I'll give the asterisk, if you don't hold your keys, you don't hold your crypto. But if you have a little Flux and you want to stake it and get some good return on investment, CoinMetro is a great place to do that. So I think what we're working on in the back end, and Trunk would probably pop me in the mouth if he heard me say this, but I believe we're creating an API that's going to be able to work with them. So it's a little bit more seamless for claiming these assets instead of going to 50 nodes and having to claim all of them and come back again. So the answer to your question is, if you were staking there, you do qualify for your parallel assets, and they do support the parallel assets. Now we have to figure out how to distribute those parallel assets in a more seamless approach. So they're working on it. They had some pretty major things that they were doing on their side, and now we're coming back to it again. So just hang tight, and Kevin and those guys over there are kick ass. So they're gonna get it to you.
This question is, how is the academic dApp coming along? Are there any future plans to make apps for students' academics?
Jeff, that's a good question, and you're relentless on this, and I love it. This is actually one of my things, because I try to look for ways to improve humanity, and one of those things is some type of an academic app that will run on Flux. I think you'll see that after our OS fork. There's a couple different things we can do for students. There's actually a really nice Dockerized application that does e-learning, So I think you could see kids actually using our e-learning platform at some point in time. A guy can hope and dream, right? So I believe it could happen. My kids come down and they complain about Zoom all the time. I'm like, well, we might be able to fix that shit. So let's take a look at it. So yeah, it's on the list, and it's one that we're looking at. So can I give you a date or a time? Post OS fork. That's all I can say.
All right. Next question is, what are your personal goals for the project for the rest of 2021?
Personal goals. Wow. My personal goals are very simple, and that is to get Zelcore and Flux in the hands of every single person that I can evangelize it to. For many years, the community almost ad nauseum got pissed at Dan, right? Because he would always say, "Look, we need organic growth. We need to develop the platform. We need a fully baked ecosystem before we go out there and start pushing it." Well, we're there, and you're starting to see that momentum behind the project. I was telling Ollie before the show today, I had to turn Twitter off, man. I can't even keep up with it anymore. It's insane. We get thousands of engagements. I mean, it's just constant. People are finding the platform. And so my personal goal is to go out there and continue to engage those individuals, continue to show them why this platform is the most mature. And I'm going to say it, and people will probably be pissed off at me, these tribalistic people. We are the most developed platform in blockchain. We are one of the most professional in blockchain, hands down. If you want to argue with me, you can argue with me, and I can give you 100 reasons why we are. Now what we have to do is bring people from other communities, bring people from around. I mean, perfect example is the SafeMoon edition. It was a community that needed something. They needed a platform, right? And we gave them the platform. And in return, we saw them come and discover Zelcore and Flux. And now you have this kind of interesting kind of like engagement, because they start to, you see them coming into Discord and they're asking questions like, well, holy shit, this thing's awesome. You know, how did you know, that's the kind of stuff. So personal goal is we want to get Zelcore and Flux in the front of everyone we can. And then there are other personal goals as well. I mean, I want to see our developing team continue to keep growing. We continue to keep adding devs. We added an employment page to the Flux website. We're looking for, if you guys know, there's like 13 positions open. So go in there, and you know, if you want to, if you always wanted to work for a cypherpunk community of crypto folks and that love doing what they do, then go in there and apply. So it's a community project, and we need community folks. So bring your time and your talent and come work for us. So those are a couple of things that are personal goals.
All right. So next question is, how many engineers / devs are now working in the Flux team?
Holy crap. Are you going to make me count that? We have at least, at this point in time, 20 plus developers. We have at 7 full-time developers now on both the Zelcore and the Flux side. Almost 7 part-time developers or contractors. And then we also work with subcontractors that do work for us as well. So like marketing and PR pieces and some things like that, subcontractors. So let's say 23 developers, and that would span Zelcore, Flux, you know, all the different platforms. And then you start to get into labs, which is a completely different arm. You know, it just, the numbers just keep going up. And that doesn't even take in, those 23 don't even take into account all of our marketing and PR, all of our general development, all of our, I mean, just our graphics, our videos, our you name it. I mean, we have a crap ton of people. So pretty excited about how we're going. And I think that we'll continue to keep adding people because we're ramping up very quickly.
All right. Next one is, can we have a Flux meet somewhere at some time? That would be fun.
So I'm not ready to announce this yet, but I will say this. I would say keep your eyes on consensus. And that's all I'll say. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fucking fun. So my buddy was over last night and we were sitting out back. Shout out to Paulie. And we were talking about what that'll look like, but it will be the pinnacle of what we've put together. And you know, everybody in the community knows we don't mess around. When we do something, we go all in. And it's, I think that you're going to really be happy. But consensus, keep your eye on that.
All right. Next one is, any plans to have more Flux mobile applications?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing for us right now is working through the nuances that Apple has. Apple tends to frown upon any dApp that doesn't run through their app platform, right? So they're not real super happy with dApps because it takes away from their revenue source. So we have to work out a plan to address some of those issues and some of those concerns with Apple. So I think you'll see in the foreseeable future, we're going to keep developing and we're going to keep releasing. But eventually, I think we have to get to a point where we have a relationship with these different platforms if we want to keep it, keep those dApps on their platform. So what that looks like, whether it's some type of revenue sharing with Apple off the dApps or whatever it is, I don't know. But unfortunately, with mobile, we are subject to whatever boundaries until we make the Flux device, you know, the first, you know, decentralized phone. You know, we're going to have to play by their rules. So I would say the answer to that is yes, you're going to see them coming. And yes, you would be able to open up a web browser and go straight to a dApp, and it would be ran on Flux, which is kind of cool. I use DuckDuckGo. but you can really use any platform, mobile browser, and you can play games. You can use there's this one app. It's like a whiteboard app. I love it. It's on Flux. We'll leave the link in the bio or somewhere like that. But it's super easy to use. And when I'm taking notes and I don't have like a pen or paper or anything like that, I love using it. So, yep, more coming.
All right. So you said, I remember an AMA about medical records. Is that still a thing?
Yeah. People say, how are you guys doing all these different things? It's because we built a platform that can do them. So the Paradigm project, which is still, it's the white paper's out there. I'm gonna update it a little bit and spice it up. But once we get to the next version of Flux OS and we start having hardened Dockers and databases, then we can start looking at opt-in data. Everybody knows my ultimate goal, right? The whole reason why Flux really started to materialize was I want to see electronic medical records in a decentralized platform where you can opt in. Right now, the health system is archaic at best. These EMR programs that they use use your data. They partner with companies like Google for analytics and targeted marketing. It's really, I mean, I can go to Amazon and buy 15 different things. And if I don't want to buy from Amazon, I can buy from Walmart, or I can buy from this place, or I can buy this place. But I can't have my own electronic medical records, my healthcare records. And I suffer from a chronic illness. So when I got sick, I started going, I went to 13 different doctors. And every time I went to a different doctor, I had to print out and put in a binder all my medical records so that when I got to the next doctor, they could open the binder up and read what happened at the last 5 doctors. And then they would give me their information and that would go in the binder. Well, the binder was that thick, and there's no excuse for that. The healthcare system has fucking failed us straight up, and it needs to be fixed. And I am very passionate about, at some point, electronic medical records being the lead in this. And I think you can put it in really any data like that, supply chain management, anything like that. It's just data, right? And who holds the data? Well, is Flux going to do away with Google? No, Google will be there. Centralized solutions will always be there. We're offering another way. So that's for people like me that want to have all my electronic medical records in my pocket, that I walk in and they scan a QR code and I release that information to them. And when I'm done and I left that hospital, I wipe that permissions, and then off I go. So, that's the kind of things that we're looking at. So yes, it's still in there. And I'm sorry, that was a long tangent.
All right. So next question is Flux like a decentralized version of AWS? Like, can I use Flux as a VPS, database, etc.?
Yes. That's the whole reason why it was built. That is 100% how it's built. We want to be AWS decentralized. We don't want to be the centralized model. Does AWS go away? Do we replace AWS? No, we don't replace it. And I think actually you'll see companies have this hybrid model where they'll have centralized infrastructure and they'll have decentralized infrastructure. And I think that they will work together in tandem to give more privacy to their end users, right? More scalability, more flexibility, and privacy. These companies are going to start being held accountable for the data manipulation that they have started to do, and they're going to have to plan things out. So having a decentralized part of your infrastructure is only natural, right? And that's where we're headed. So yes, we are like AWS that's decentralized.
All right. Next question is, I see staking appearing in Zelcore. How soon will we be able to stake our funds directly from Zelcore, and which cryptos will be first?
Okay, so staking really is a two-part thing here, the way I see it. So you have the native staking on the native assets. So for instance, Neo and staking Neo, or Ontology and staking Ontology, or KDM and staking KDM. That's native staking, right? Some of that is already available in Zelcore, and will continue to keep, where applicable, developing out the staking models for each one of those platforms that natively stake. We want Zelcore to really be all inclusive of the ability of these chains, right? There's a second form of staking. Okay, well, actually, let's say there's three forms of staking. So they have the native staking. Then you have liquidity providing. You have providing liquidities to exchanges, centralized exchanges, decentralized exchanges, whoever it is, liquidity, these different liquidity providers. The goal is to continue to keep working on that and developing out so that you can provide liquidity directly out of Zelcore. And if you didn't check Cadix out, you can do that with Zelcore. As a matter of fact, I provided liquidity to their Flux pool, right? So it's super flipping easy. I thought it was going to be like rocket science, but Cadix Zelcore made it super easy with their built-in components. It's almost like a wallet connect. You turn it on, boom, okay, this side of the books, and you're done and you're out. So there's that phase. And then there's a third one. The third one that I think you'll see start to develop out are companies and platforms that are creating like earn models where you provide liquidity to their platform, not necessarily exchange, could be any kind of platform. Maybe I want to, at some point in time, provide liquidity or resources or funds to a company, and I want to earn a rate of return on that. The same way when you buy a stock and you get a return on your stock, right? I see that number three being a very large target for what Zelcore wants to do. There are people that do those other two things fairly well. So the native staking and the liquidity providing. There are other platforms, including the native platforms themselves, that can create these staking pools, right? But I think the serious value add is giving you the ability to provide liquidity almost imagine if in Zelcore you saw a tab, it said, earn, right? Just the title earn. You click earn, and then it lists all the different areas where you can provide your resources to these companies. And in return, you get a rate of return. And I'm not talking shady crypto companies. I'm talking real people here. I'm talking maybe JP Morgans, maybe Fidelities, maybe people like that that you can provide to and get a higher rate of return than shoving it in your savings account and getting 0.05%. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So BlockFi is doing something like that as well. So I think what you're going to eventually see is companies like BlockFi, these other ones starting to work with non-custodial platforms to provide that access. So that would be my focus, is three.
All right. So next question is, when will the support of hardware wallets such as Ledger Nano be added to securely store the cryptos? I think it's talking about the Flux.
Yeah, I think you'll probably see it next year. I wouldn't say I don't want to mislead anybody and say we'll see it this year, because our unless we can find two more devs, I think you're probably looking at that next year. I mean, ultimately, the way that Zelcore was kind of reconfigured, we reconfigured it so that it was forward thinking, so that we can do hardware integration. I think what you'll see is our ultimate goal is really any platform, support any platform, whether it's Trezor, Ledger, any of the major platforms. The one that Jack's working on with Cash App and all that kind of stuff. So I think you could see a lot, any hardware wallet at some point in time.
I think that was the last question, Dan.
Well, we're at 9:58, so that's good. So unless anybody else has any other questions, we'll give it like 2 seconds here. Big shout out to the team. You guys continue to keep kicking ass, and I can't be more happy. Ollie, what you've done, helping out with getting us into the future here for this these new AMAs. We're gonna try to keep these regular. I think there's so much happening that I think that needs to. And one of the questions I got sidebar was when is the Fusion podcast going to start back up? And we've got two very good guests coming here within the next couple weeks, people that you will know, and it's kind of exciting. So we want to start pulling in people that are not necessarily crypto folks, right? We want to pull people in that are interested in crypto, and they have they have input to give, like they have questions to ask, and we have a community to give that. So when is the next? Oh yeah, I guess I gotta do the next. Like I made everybody go all the way to the end to tell them when the next snapshot was, and then I was not gonna do it. Sorry, Stash. So officially, we are launching Solana and Tron on October 15th of 2021. So there's going to be some announcements around that. This snapshot, because Fusion will already be in existence, we won't have the window of waiting once the snapshot's complete. And we're actually in the process of working out a reward system for individuals who stand up nodes from that snapshot. So that's the first time you guys are hearing about that as well. But our goal is to continue that soft scaling we talked about. And we want to make sure that we reward those individuals who take those parallel assets. And if they do bring them back to the main chain and they do stand up additional infrastructure, they're rewarding for them for that as well. So there's so much going on. So, we're really super excited about that. Another question was, any ETA on Eve? You got me excited now. Well, that's a good question. So our ultimate goal with Eve is to have, our first iteration is kind of out with the quick swap exchanges. And our next, so now that Zelcore, we have built the foundational framework for the delivery of Eve, which is the new version of Zelcore. Now we've kind of laid that groundwork. Now we can build the next iteration. So I think probably by the end of the year, you're going to see maybe Q4. I think you're going to see the next version, which would be the more simplistic version. So maybe tell me about news or tell me about this. And then I think next year will be the year of Eve, because I think that's as we build this piece out, I think that's really the push. So and there's some other components that I can't really get into, but we need to make sure that we have the correct resources to develop these things out. So there'll be some cool things that happen between here and there. So I'm super excited for it, but I think you'll see Eve functioning in a very high level next year. Where can I buy Flux merch? Well, actually, you can go on Amazon and you can put in, I believe, I can put some links in the bio, but Mind Your Biz, Seth Estrada, my buddy Seth Estrada has some, and he's going to be putting up the new t-shirts. If you haven't seen the new t-shirts, they're cool as shit. We have the Don't Be Evil Again t-shirt. We have the What the Flux t-shirt, and we have the Zelcore Now You Can. I'm super excited about that. I think you can still even buy the ZelID t-shirt on Amazon as well. But if anybody knows someone that wants to stand up a decentralized merch store, hit us up, because we'd really like to help you out with that. Hint, hint. So the snapshot for Solana and Tron is going to be October the 15th. October the 15th. So you got a little bit of time to accumulate. All right, guys. We're right on little past. Thanks everybody for coming today. Thank you to the team. Thank you to the community. You guys kick ass and take names. We're going to do awesome things. So let's go build the future today. See you guys.